What's up, guys? Today we're taking a look at alchemy in Dragonflight, continuing our preview. Obviously this is out well after Dragonflight is out, but I'm recording this a couple of days ahead of time, so this might all be wrong. If it is, then I apologize. Don't watch the video, but yeah, let's take a look. So obviously the first thing, what on earth can you craft as an alchemist? Well, there's a lot of well-known categories of items here. Potions, we all know what that is. Cauldrons, well, they're no longer flask cauldrons, they're now cauldrons that give you potions, but it's still potions. Not a huge difference. Now, what on earth are phials? Well, phials replace flasks. They persist through death, they last for 30 minutes. If you drink 2 of them, then you get an hour of duration. And they have a lot more different effects than flasks used to have. Like this one. If you're standing still, you get a main stat bonus. If you move, then you lose the main stat, but you get a speed burst for 5 seconds. Stuff like that. There's a bunch of different phials, so just a huge number. And that's the main part. You have some transmutes, which are on a cooldown, or a bunch of different transmutes. A couple of finishing reagents that I think might actually be pretty good, including like gaining more inspiration on multicraft when you're crafting your potions. There's an optional reagent that you apply to your gear that gives you 50% increased potion duration. I think it stacks to 2. And then there's actually 2 alchemist stone trinkets. So that's pretty much it. But obviously the potions and the phials is the main part here. There's a bunch of different categories of potions, but that's the main thing. And yeah, potions are changed since you're now getting the potions. Can get potions from a cauldron. I think this is going to bring down a little bit in terms of potion demand. That being said, you do need primal chaos to use the potion of a cauldron of ultimate power. So if you want potions of ultimate power, then it's possible that this is better. Either way, you still need 1 primal chaos per potion. So this is actually going to be a little bit limited. The elementals of potions of ultimate power. And if you can farm your own primal chaos to sell, so you can do private crafting orders or just mass craft these on the auction house, that's going to be a way to keep the value of these fairly high. Oh, they're binding pickup. I'm stupid. You can only sell them through crafting orders then, but whatever. It's still going to be farm your own primal chaos, sell crafting orders, personal orders that they send to you, and you can sell your primal chaos as elemental potions of ultimate power, and that's probably going to yield a good profit. I don't know how easy or hard it is to farm primal chaos. There's also 2 intermediate materials that you need to craft for your potions. And we have the big one here at the top, perhaps. Experimentations are back. So to unlock recipes, you now actually have to do the experimentations. This is similar to Wrath. You do this, you have a chance of a breakthrough, and then you learn a potion recipe or multiple new potion recipes. And then it's the same for phials, and that actually is how you learn the vast majority of potions. Obviously, it's too early to tell you like which recipes are going to be good, except for obviously for potions, it's the ultimate power with a huge main stat bonus is going to be the main one. For phials, it's a lot harder to say. Charged isolation could be good in M+, if you're always away from your allies, if you're ranged. Or you could end up with people just running like tepid versatility, which just gives you a straight versatility bonus with no downside. Or there's stuff that gives you damage, stuff that has downsides. There's stuff that gives you like a chance to proc damage, which is better in AoE. There's a lot of different phials. We'll see whichever turns out to be the best for each use case. This trinket, however, is very interesting. The Alacritus Alchemist Stone. There's 2 trinkets here, but the sustaining one I think is terrible. Both of them give you a secondary stat, versatility or haste, and then they have a proc that increases your main stat. And has an extra effect, so the sustaining alchemist stone will increase the duration of your active phial, which I think is terrible, because that doesn't actually make you stronger, it just saves you a little bit of gold. The Alacritus Alchemist Stone, though, however, will reduce the cooldown of your combat potion by 10 seconds every time it procs. So this is actually going to increase your damage output by allowing you to drink potions more often, and if you stack that with 2 potions of 2 absorption inhibitors on your gear, so you have double duration potions, then suddenly it could be strong. Of course, this is going to be compared to all other like embellishments and other craftable trinkets, but this can be worn by anyone. You don't have to be an alchemist to get it. Obviously, you have to sell it through a crafting order, but this has the potential to be actually pretty good. It has the potential. No guarantees. I haven't seen Sims yet, but this could be a strong way to go, essentially. Yeah, that's the most part. That's what we can craft. Now for gold making, I think that crafting files en masse at max quality with like tons of resourcefulness and multi-craft bonuses is the way to go. You're selling to your entire region, so you have an insane and huge, massive customer base. But you need to get the sales and you need to get to quality 3. So let's look at how that looks in terms of what you can get with knowledge. So, the knowledge breakpoints. You've seen this on my other videos if you've watched the other previews. This one is kind of sad. As you'll notice, for intermediate materials, both Convergence and Omnium, for the elemental ultimate power potions, for normal potions, for Q3, for files, for decayed files, for pretty much everything, you can't reach quality 5, or you can't reach quality 3, the max quality. Even with every bonus unlocked and all the knowledge put into the relevant trees, it's impossible. So what does this mean? Well, it means that alchemy is going to be a big inspiration user. You want inspiration everywhere, like you might want to use these intermediate or finishing reagents for more inspiration and multi-craft. You're going to want to stack the inspiring ambience instead of just going for skill. You want as much inspiration and the strongest inspiration bonus possible. That's what you need: inspiration, resourcefulness, and multi-craft. Skill is going to be good because it will eventually allow you to like just use lower quality stuff. But inspiration is just absolutely key for if you're doing any of the consumables. Kind of annoying for potions, for the ultimate power potions, which require primal chaos, particularly if you're doing this with crafting orders. You can't recraft them, so they get either Q2 or Q3, which sucks. So I expect we'll see a lot of max quality, or other people preferring to use the cauldron whenever possible. Although it's just as hard to get to quality 3, you're still relying on procs essentially. So that is what it is. I might have overlooked something. It's possible, but you rely on procs to get there. Now, the area where you don't rely so much on procs and it's looking pretty nice is the gear, or rather the optional reagent for a potion absorption inhibitor and the Alacritus Alchemist Stone. You can get there with about 90 points and you get to quality 5 mythic trinkets, which is actually fairly low for a mythic quality, Q5 mythic quality gear. So getting the Alacritus Alchemist Stone up is actually surprisingly easy, relative to a lot of other professions. So that's the good part. But for potions and files, which is where honestly the majority of the gold is going to be, you have to rely on inspiration. Get lucky. The good part is that if other people don't have as much inspiration as you, then you're going to be making a lot of gold because your effective crafting cost is going to be a lot lower for quality 3. So there's it's not just all bad, but it's looking pretty interesting. Now, as for builds, I think that getting to inspiration and getting advanced experimentation early on is fairly important. You can go for either potions or files. I'm leaning towards files personally, because for potions, the top recipe, either you learn it from training. For the elemental potion of power, you just get that from skill 50, or the elemental potion of ultimate power comes from the auction house, or pretty much from the drop, from the raid. So I don't think there's as much value in getting to experimentations for potions, whereas for files, that's very, very important, which means you go 10 points, 10 points, 20 points here, because then you get advanced file experimentation, so you can get recipes faster, essentially. After that, probably just 10 points at least into alchemical theory, and then you want to put points into inspiration, alchemical theory, and either the base nodes here. This one could be useful if you're going to do reagents, because it gives you skill there. But generally you want to focus on the basic nodes and inspiration, and that's pretty much it. Finish this middle node is only good for potion mastery, in my opinion, because the file trinket is useless. So if you want to do the potion trinket, then you do need to put 25 points here for the illustrious insight finishing reagent for quality 5. There's a lot of different options here, but overall inspiration is king. You need inspiration. You need inspiration on all of your profession gear. You need to stack inspiration early on, and then eventually you can probably cool down on the inspiration and put more points into multicraft, perhaps. But I think that just as much inspiration as possible and then multicraft on the side is the way to go here. As far as the recipes go, pretty much everything is from pretty much everything comes from experimentation. There's a couple of small non-experimentation, like the stones come from reputation, Maruk Centaur for the Alacritus one, which is the only one I think is going to be good. Although it does look like the stat proc is weaker, so maybe the file one is actually good because it has a stronger stat proc and you don't need to use potions. We'll see. Potion absorption inhibitor comes from the Vault of Incarnates, and that's also the same case for the ultimate power recipes. They are also from the raid, and can be traded on the auction house. You want to pay attention for that. Outside of that, everything is from knowledge. Everything that I care about, which is the files and the cauldrons and potions, everything is from either knowledge or the trainer, or just from experimentation to unlock. So there's nothing much you need to do outside of staying on top of your knowledge. You don't really need to do anything on your alchemist. You may want to farm rep with Valdraken Accord and Maruk Centaur for the 2 trinkets. But we're now on 13 and 14, and then you never have to play your alchemist again outside of making sure you earn knowledge points, which you will need. You'll need to keep on top of, because there's like very strong multicraft nodes late in the game, which means you can never really stop. You need to just continue until you maxed out like all of the generic nodes and resourcefulness. And there's a lot of auxiliary nodes, because you're competing with the entire realm, so you need to always be competitive when it comes to crafting cost, which means like max inspiration, max possible multicraft, max possible resourcefulness for any given point in time if you want to make money here. Yeah, that's it guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.